Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Capes, the chat show where we talk about indie comics that don't have superheroes in them and whatever we're excited about this week. Today, I am really lucky to have David Andry with me. David, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone and tell them a little bit about your work?
Hi, I'm David Andry. I'm a comic book writer from California. I am currently writing Resonant. That comes out through Vault Comics. I have some older self-published stuff, and I was in one of the Iron Circus anthologies. Yeah, I'm really stoked to be here.
Awesome. Thank you very much for joining us today. And we've got Crowded is our comic today that we're talking about. And I'm just trying to find out where. There it is. It's disappeared to. No, it's back. Good. It had disappeared from between our little webcam feeds there. Alrighty. Yes. I can't wait. I don't
Yes.
have any of the physical issues yet. Because something that almost all my guests have been surprised by is how expensive comics are in Australia.
Yeah,
Like a single floppy is anywhere between $6 to $10.
yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah,
So all digital. You do all comicsology
Um, for anything that's ongoing, and then I
trades.
fill my shelf.
Nice, nice.
um, so I am, as we were discussing before, I'm both very excited and very sad for Crowded to be coming to an end because one, no more story, but two, big ass trade.
Yeah,
I was
big ass trade.
Yeah, I was saying that to Ted and Roe when they were on that I really hope that we get like one big thick trade. A couple of smaller ones would be cool, but just there'd be
Yeah,
something satisfying about.
yeah, get the big hardcover.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
drop it on the desk.
Well, yeah, I was pretty impressed. When I first started reading it, it felt like it was going to be a shorter series, and just kind of kept on steamrolling into like more and more stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this could go for a little while. I like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, that's it. I wasn't sure how long it was going to go at first. I was thinking it might only be like 10 issues,
Yeah,
because it just sort of felt like it was going to be that, but then it just kind of started spiraling into more and more bananas.
yeah.
And I was like, this is awesome. This is so good. Before we get too deep, though, I do have a quick shout out that I want to do because my friends over at Smuggler's Coffee sent me some samples
Mm.
yesterday. So today's stream is fueled by +1 2 charisma from Smuggler's Coffee over in the States. Illinois, I think? Yeah, Illinois. And like this is apparently the first international shipment that they've ever sent, so I feel
All right.
very, very privileged, and it's really tasty. I've been eyeing off Smuggler's Coffee and not Cantrip, Found Familiar Coffee, and now John O'Dina's got that new one as well, Rootless Coffee, that he's just started, and they all work with independent artists and stuff to do their labels.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I think Emily Pearson did one of the labels for the
Uh-huh.
like flagship run.
Yeah, Emily's lives really close to me. Actually, we're in the same town.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep
So
hearing it
if
every
if
time.
if
Uh,
someday like conventions exist again, we will see each other in person.
yes, yeah, that was the last time I saw Tom and Ryan too. Was like Supernova last year or the year before. They both happened to be there because they live on the other side of the country. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's not many of us in Brisbane. They're all down south. But yeah, so Crowded is a really interesting book. One, Ted and Roe, their art style is just something else. It was one of the things like this cover was what dragged me into the comic. I just happened to be following Chris by accident, I think, or when I was just
Hmm.
looking for comic book creators to start following and find good indie stuff. And he posted this cover. I was like, "What is that?" And I love how it's not your traditional Marvel DC looking kind of work. Like I love so many of the artists that work for Marvel and DC, but their work it looks like it belongs in a Marvel or
Yeah,
DC book, if you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love the and one of my favorite things in this book is the facial expressions that they pull off. Just really, really, it's really fun, and you get a lot of acting through the characters there. Um, and yeah, it was definitely the art that drew me. It was a cool pitch, the cool like it's an app that you can assassinate someone with.
Yes.
Obviously it's very, very pitchy, and it's really easy to like sell it to somebody. But just flipping through the pages the first time, I'm like, yeah, this book's awesome. I got to pick this up.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. Like the cover drew me in, and then I sort of read the blurb, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds like a hoot." So, let's see what happens here. And it's just steadily gotten more and more intense as time goes on.
Yeah, there's not a lot of comedy comics out right now. It's a lot
No.
of like really heavy, serious stuff, which I dig that too. But I was a big Skull Kickers fan. I was a big
Yes.
Justice League like International when I was a kid. Justice League International is my favorite comic of all time. And you throw tons of comedy. You still have the action plots and stuff going on, but a lot of times it's small movement, like movement or moments between like the characters. When they're hanging out at home or in between missions and stuff. That was like the really fun stuff. So I really appreciate a comic that digs into that.
Yeah. No. No. Me too. Like I really enjoyed Skull Kickers too. It was one of the early sort of indie funny comics I got involved with. So I was really excited when the Kickstarter just came out for the
Yeah,
actual RPG module,
yeah,
which was awesome. And then and then this, like I started following Chris because he seemed like an interesting dude. Then I found out Ted and Ro and Triona were on Twitter as well. So I started following the whole team, and I think I was following them for a couple of weeks before I actually remembered to pick the damn book up. Um, so I will admit that like I came for the comics and I stayed for the Zola.
yeah.
It is one of my favorite things about Chris's Twitter feed, beside the updates on what he's working on, is the regular feed of Zola pics.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
And Chris, I don't know if you're watching this one yet, but I will be very sad if Zola doesn't make an appearance at some point on our episode.
Yeah, I'm not going to let the dogs or the cats in here. The cats come into this. I told you I was organizing like all
Yes.
these comics. I got like 30 short boxes in here, and it is like cat gymnasium. If I they're sitting outside the door right now because they know I'm in the office, and
Yeah.
they're just waiting to jump in here and get behind the boxes, get on the boxes, get in the boxes, start ripping through the comics. Yeah, no, they don't. This door stays shut for the pooch
No,
and
I
the
completely
cat.
understand that. Um, Thankfully, we don't have cats or anything here. We have a big Labradoodle, but she's pretty gentle and she doesn't like tight spaces that much, so she won't really come into where my comics are.
Yeah, yeah. No, I put Busy, my pit bull. I put her in here to sleep at night so she can get away from the cats because they kind of harass her, and she's getting to be a grumpy old lady. She used to be a wacky pup, and now she's a grumpy old lady. I think she's 12 now.
Oh wow.
If you've read Resonant, you've seen her because she's the model for Fern in the comic. So yes, I'm going to put my dog basically in as many things as I can.
Yeah. No, I like that. I love that. That makes sense now that you say it, because like I've actually got Resonant on the shelf back here, and
Uh,
I thought that was a really cute dog. So that, and now that you send that the picture you so showed me the other day, yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And there, no, that's like my friends and like family is like number one question: is anything bad ever going to happen to the dog? And I'm like, I'll give you spoilers. No, nothing bad is going to happen to the dog. The people, on the other hand, they are fair game.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, I don't. I recently read Weatherman, the
Oh yeah,
image.
yep, yep, yep.
Love it. I mean, the art is dynamic and the story was cool, but they kill that dog in the first issue. Spoilers for Weatherman if you haven't read it. It's like a year and a half old or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, you don't get spoiler warnings before it happens now. But
um,
yeah, that was rough for me to see. So
yeah, no, I can understand that. I will also give everyone a heads up that we're gonna keep it light for the first few minutes. We're just talking about the first issue, which is available on Comixology for free right now. So if you're curious to try Crowded, you can get that on Comixology. I'm about to link that in the chat for anyone who's watching this live. But if you're
very much
watching
worth
it
it.
on YouTube, you can just click the link below. So yeah, we'll talk about a few things in issue 1 to start with, and then I'm going to give you all a heads up that if you haven't read any of it yet, to switch off and come back later once you've read it, because there is a lot of Crowded out. It's been out for a while. I think they're working on volume 3 right now. And it's really, really good, and we both really like it, and inevitably there's going to be some spoilers, so after that you are going to want to go read it and come back, hopefully spoiler free. So there's the link in the chat, and that is going to be below on YouTube for you all as well. And I am just flicking to the credits right now, David. That's the page I've got up. So we can discuss the team a little bit. So yeah, that's right. I forgot that Rachel Stott did a variant for issue 1.
Oh, I just have the trade with me because I could not find my individuals.
Oh yeah. Well, I think the cover on the trade is the Rachel Stott cover. I'm not sure. It just says on the inside of this issue 1 that she did the variant cover, but I can't remember if that is this cover or not, because my brain is not working at full capacity this morning. But yeah, Christopher Sebela is the author. Cardinal Ray is on letters, and did a great job. We've got Stein on pencils and Ted Brandt on inks. I think it's wonderful that they're an art team on comics together, and I love their work, and I have a burning desire to have them work on something I've written.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of inkers in general anymore. And
Yeah.
it seems like that's kind of like a dying breed of artist. And it used to be every comic had a penciler and an inker, and it just kind of has gone away for some reason with modern comics.
Yeah, and that's something I want to try to keep up with my work as well. Like, I want to do some work where I do everything, from pencils to colors, as a challenge. But also, a person who specializes in inking can just bring something else entirely to work. And so I definitely want to make sure I'm getting some of that involved in my projects as well, because it's not a practice that I think should go by the wayside. I think it's incredibly valuable, and there are some fabulous inkers out there. And yeah, Ted and Ro as a team are just dynamite. So I would love to have them work on something that I've done as well. And Triona,
really, fun. Just talking about their art a little bit. I mean, fun and tons of energy and a lot of stuff, interesting stuff going on, like in the background, which I dig.
Yeah.
I love little things that are like little surprises and little jokes in the back, and
that's right.
And just
that's what I was saying to Ted as well. Is like their work is simultaneously so simple with such economy of line, but there's also so much going on.
Yes,
like, it's not overly detailed, but it is incredibly detailed.
Yeah,
on the page, like the individual figures aren't.
I always think about how long does it take me to read a comic, and if I'm not like really getting into it, I can read a comic about 5 minutes and then it goes away, and it's like, with Crowded, and I think we talked a little bit about Coda, which is one of my favorites from the last 10 years. I would take 20 to 30 minutes to read these comics just because I'm enjoying the art and like exploring each panel and kind of like digging into it a little bit deeper.
Yeah,
Um,
no, exactly.
so yeah, I really appreciate the art, and I really appreciate artists that like put in a little bit extra in the back.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And so for anyone who's just joining us who hasn't read, we're telling you about the team right now a little bit, but I suppose we should cover a little bit about the story as well. But while I've got this first page loaded up of the book itself, I just want to quickly touch on Triona's colors as well.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Just such an interesting style. I don't even I can't even put my finger on what it is exactly that makes it an interesting style, but I love the color choices that she uses. Um, and like, the main character here is Charlie is pink. She's straight up pink,
Yeah,
but it doesn't seem inhuman or anything. It really does give you those vibes of, okay, no, so this person is one of those fluorescent pale people.
yeah. Yeah, totally love the colors in this book. I mean, throughout the whole thing, a lot of like really pops of green and like really bright stuff going on, um, and does a good job like varying the environment too when they're like at a club or outside. It's a totally different feel for it. So yeah, I I dig the colors.
Yeah, they're so cool, and especially like the gradients and stuff that Tree does on the backgrounds later on in
Hmm.
the book,
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
fabulous. But yeah, for anyone who hasn't read it, Crowded is a book about this girl Charlie who is a bit of a selfish brat, to put it
But is
politely.
she? But is she really? Is she really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what is her real deal? We don't actually.
yeah.
Yeah, to this day, we still don't know Charlie's full
Not
deal.
100%. You're just getting little revelations as you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
actually really looking forward to this final issue coming out so I can go back and reread the whole thing and get her story fresh in my head.
Yeah, yeah. I you know what I feel like Charlie really represents a lot of the relationships we have now. Like I just reread the first trade, this week, kind of prepping for this. My memory is shit, so I don't really remember anything like ever.
Yeah,
Uh, so so rereading it, and she kind of think represents like all of our online relationships. You think people you interact with on Twitter and people you interact with on like whatever your main like social media thing is. Sometimes you call these people your friends, but are they really friends,
yeah,
or are they just people that will like your stuff, repost your stuff, maybe contribute to your Kickstarter, but if you like called them up and said, hey, I need some help, uh, you get a different reaction.
yeah, no,
So
exactly.
where Charlie thinks she might have a lot of friends, and like she's like, oh, I have tons of friends. Does she really have any true connections with people?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's right. And we sort of discover that a bit as it goes along. But we don't know what her story is yet. We know certain things, and there's more to Charlie than it appears. But issue one, she's presented to us as this childish, impulsive, selfish kind of a bratty person, and there's two apps in the universe. Well, there's a lot of apps in the universe,
There's a
but
ton of apps because she like in the first couple of pages lists all the apps that she's using to make money. She's
yeah,
like she's deep into the gig economy,
she
and
really is.
she's like a babysitter, a dog walker,
Yeah, rents out her clothes and
yeah, it's on her clothes.
but this specific two apps that are a big focus of the story is Reaper and Defender. And Reaper is crowd-sourced assassination. You can put out a hit on someone and
On anyone.
on anyone, yeah, on anyone via this app, and it's legal. You can't
Yeah,
walk down the street and kill someone, but if you are hooked up to this app, then you legally can walk up and kill anyone who is listed
Yeah.
as a
I,
hit.
do they have to get to a certain threshold? I don't remember
I can't
if they have
remember.
to get to like a Kickstarter has to hit a certain level.
Yeah,
But yeah, I remember that if you survive 30 days, then no one can ever put a hit on you again.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think that's the deal. I think like there is a certain target goal, and if it hits that, then whoever gets the hit
gets
will
that money.
get the money.
Yeah,
But if you don't do the hit before the campaign ends, then you're not allowed to kill that person, and
yeah,
they can never be put back on the app.
yeah. Which is a pretty appealing idea in 2020, right? The, I could think of a couple of campaigns that I would have contributed to. I think this year for
Yeah,
sure.
jeez. It's been a year.
It's been a year.
But yeah, on the flip side of that, we have Defender, where people can hire a bodyguard. It's like the Uber for bodyguards. Even like reminds me actually of the Hitman's Bodyguard
Yeah,
and Ryan Reynolds' character, with his AAA rating and all that bullshit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Our main character, our other main character, Vita, has a very crappy rating, probably because she's not super friendly.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny because she's got such a low rating because she obviously presents herself and reveals herself to be a very competent bodyguard.
Yes, yes,
I've got page 2 up now, and I'm just looking at the panel where Charlie's waking up with her like holographic alarm clock and the sun pouring in through the window and
yeah.
Ted's goddamn shadows in that page.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
And the
like
kind of see-through nature of the shirt is
yeah,
awesome too. Yeah,
and this is something that I struggle with as an artist is this kind of use of black in shadows. I
yeah,
I'm not used to it. I really struggle wrapping my head around it, and I envy anyone who can do it so well. Hiding so much of the page in shadow and having it look so detailed and dynamic still just fries some cells.
yeah. Don't ask me. I'm a writer, man. I don't know how any of this stuff works. It's
Yeah.
all a mystery. It's all a mystery to me. One thing we should back up and mention is the letterer, Cardinal Ray. Um,
Yes. Yes.
the lettering in this book is heavy, heavy lifting. I mean, this
Oh yeah.
is
It's
not a light script. This thing, and for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of word heavy books for the most part.
yeah. I
Um,
know what you
I
mean.
see I see a ton of caption boxes. I see a ton of words. I'm closing that book, and I'll pick up a novel if I want to read that. I really like my comics to be a nice mesh of art and story and word and stuff. But with Crowded, I mean, it all works, and the letter Cardinal is just killing like
Yeah.
the different colors of everyone's text boxes, and it really everything flows really well. And like I'm really impressed. The lettering, you know, I guess they usually say lettering is good if it's invisible, but I think this lettering is very visible, and it adds to the story. It
Yeah.
makes it a
No,
more enjoyable read.
I 100% agree. Like I don't really agree that you shouldn't notice the lettering
Yeah,
because all of my favorite books, the lettering has been a huge part of that. Like we were talking about Grumble last week with David Gallagher, and we spent about 5 minutes just talking about the lettering and how it's got this sort of handwritten scroll quality to it, as if it's the main character's diary when it's her narration,
yeah,
and it lends so much weight to the story. And it's the same
yeah.
with Crowded.
And it's tough to balance it looking busy and messy with having it be clear with a lot of dialogue. And I think it's like nailed perfectly in this book. I think
Uh, I Yeah,
like
I agree completely.
absolutely like just the sweet spot of having too much and too little.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. I think I need more of this
All
coffee.
right.
Yeah, because I'm often the same. Like, if there's too many text boxes on a page, I'm
Yeah,
outies because
I'm out. Yeah.
the whole my whole thing about with comics is being able to enjoy a story visually. Like, I feel if you rely on too much text, then the visuals of the story aren't strong enough. But as far as you said with this, they need each other.
Hmm.
Like, they're perfectly balanced with each other here.
Yeah. And I feel kind of at its heart, this is a relationship. This is a relationship story, weaved into this action-packed, crazy world. And so I think you need that. You need a lot of text. You need a lot of story. You need a lot of back and forth between the characters to really illuminate that relationship drama. So you need the words, but it needs to not distract from, blowing crap up and shooting people in the head and, crashing cars and all the crazy antics that happen in this story.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it just yeah works so well. Like, until you mentioned it just now,
Yeah.
I hadn't actually paid attention to how many dialogue boxes there were in this
Oh,
comic.
it's packed.
Yeah, and I hadn't noticed because it's just so immersive.
Yeah.
And I think that's the
Yeah.
difference. I think there's a difference between having text in this way where it actually draws you into the panel and increases the immersion in the story versus when there's so much text that you have to focus on that and it brings you out of
Yeah.
the immersion with the art.
I think it helps that the text boxes are pretty much all dialogue, right?
Yeah.
It's not, in a world where,
Yeah, it's not.
the Dark Lord has risen. It's not that kind of heavy caption backstory world building stuff. It's all conversation that's going on. So you're still playing those characters in your head
Yeah.
while you're kind of, following along with the action. So I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Um, and I've just sort of skipped forward to page 3 here where Charlie's walking the dogs. And there's one thing that is one of my favorite things in this book is row drawing dogs.
Yeah, right.
Every single animal that Roe draws in his book has just got so much personality to it, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a dog in a book. So
Yeah, me too.
you put a dog in a book, I'm 50% of the way to buying it already.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And this book in particular, like, my partner um, reads comics, but they don't read comics like I read comics. They'll read a
Hmm.
comic if they find one that's really cool and they like the look of it, or they'll try one out if I recommend it. But whenever I'm reading Crowded, if dog is on the page,
Yeah.
they notice and they'll lean over so they can look at dog. And I've told them about the story, and they think it sounds really fun. So I have a feeling that once I get the trade, they'll actually sit down and go
Yeah.
through it because they don't really like reading digitally.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of digital
Yeah,
either.
I
Just
prefer having the book in my hand and you're sitting down
yeah.
in a comfy chair with it. But comics being as expensive as they are in Australia, if I
Yeah.
have to read digital to keep up, I'll read digital to keep up.
I would too. I would too. I'm trying to get away from singles, even at the cover price here in America. I'm trying to get away from singles, just because it's too many good comics and too much money. So I'm trying to lean towards trades as well.
Yeah,
Uh, but I don't know. I have a hard time when I walk into the shop on Wednesdays or whenever, not grabbing a couple of things.
exactly. Like, something this size here
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
40, 45 bucks.
Oh my god, that's brutal.
Yeah. Like, the cheapest I would expect to get this for would be 30 bucks. And that would be probably if it was on sale. But just
Yeah.
quietly as well, just a quick shout out since it's in my hand. If you haven't read
Hey,
Broken
Frankie.
Bear by Frankie White, go read it.
Yep, do it.
I love it, and Frankie was one of the first sort of colleague friends I made in the comics industry outside of Australia, and it was really nice because we just started chatting about stuff, um, and we ended up doing a swapsy. I sent him one of my D&D screens, and he sent me this, and
Nice.
he surprised me with the signature and stuff.
Awesome.
So that
Yeah,
was
I got
really
to get a
nice.
physical copy of that. I've only read it digitally. So, again, one of those that I probably would enjoy a lot more if I get to hold it in my hand don't know. My eyes jump around on a page, and I kind of flip back and forward a couple of times. So,
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
real linear comic reader.
I know what you mean. Same with me, especially with the ADHD. Sometimes I'll get to the bottom of a page and I'll forgotten what I've read, so I have to go back
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
Um, but the combination of Adam Markowitz and AHG on colors in that book also phenomenal.
yeah. Really
Um,
good. Really
if
good.
you have you seen the colors that AHG did for some of the pages in Starless Daydream?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Frankie posted 4 pages yesterday that
Uh,
he's done. Holy crap!
yeah,
They're so good.
awesome.
The Simone Ragazzoni, I think, is the last name. Simon Ragazzoni. I'm not 100% sure. I've never heard his name out loud. This is my problem with most American comic creators. I've never heard anyone's names
Yeah.
out loud being in Australia.
Okay. So also, I don't know characters' names because I don't read the name. I just acknowledge that that's that character's name,
Mm-hmm.
and it just becomes like basically a symbol and not a word anymore. So
Yeah.
like any character's names, like I've read all of Crowded. I had to look back and see what the main two characters' names were because I
Yep.
just don't pay attention, and I just say, okay, they're talking to that person, they're talking to that person,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
know what you
Yeah,
mean.
yeah. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't. I'm terrible with names. I have a terrible memory. Where am I? What am I doing? Who are you? It's basically I'm the memento guy,
Yeah.
uh, just
No.
without the tattoos.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. I have sometimes been like reading an ongoing series for years, and a character will pop up out, and I'm like, "What's your fucking name again?"
Yeah. Well, I've forgotten names of my own characters, so there you go. I was talking to someone about Resonant this weekend, and I'm like, it's the youngest kid. What's that youngest kid's name?
Yep. No, and on that book that I told you, I've got on the back burner until I know
Yeah.
more about writing scripts. I have renamed one character like 6 or 7 different times, reading through what I've wrote because I keep forgetting. I was like workshopping a few names because I wanted a
Yeah.
name that meant something,
Uh huh.
and then I kept forgetting which one I'd used. And I'd remember one of the names I was spitballing and use that instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I'm ready, I have to go back and pick one and change
Yeah.
all of them to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or then I've changed like the spelling of a name like halfway through something and not realized it, and like then have to do the find and replace, and it's like, oh god, I'm a professional.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. Um, I'm just looking. We're meeting Dog for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Um,
That I never realized. It's one panel. I never realized she stole dog from that old lady.
yep.
I'm like, oh, that's why the dog's name is Dog, because she
Yep.
just stole from the old lady who was trying to kill her. I'm
Yep.
like, oh my god, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm just
Yeah,
looking at it. Like panel where she's picking up the gun and the dog's barking is good, but just that stupid face that Dog is pulling when she picks it up.
yeah, yeah. The wall-eyed
Yeah.
crazy bark. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Oh god.
and yeah, and again, like the colors by Triona here are just, the
Yeah.
peach sky and the freaking glow of the impact of the bullets against the wall from the
Hmm.
sniper. Oh, and
Yeah.
the effects lettering as well. I
Yeah.
love in this book.
The coffee splash. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's great. Oh.
and the designs for the characters too. Like this is one of the things I'm loving about the books that I've been choosing for the show with everyone is like they're not superhero books, so no one's wearing costumes,
Yeah.
but the distinctive looks and designs that the characters still get is
Yeah.
so good. Like I
I
love.
mean, I love.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I love Charlie. I love that she's not a stick and she has hips, and she's cute, and not like a size zero
Yes.
American model. And and Vita's got really nice shoulders and arms, and like is fit. Um, yeah, it's very nice to see better, more varied body types.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. And like, as Ted and Ro have both commented on Twitter occasionally, like just the evolution of Vita's arms over the course
yeah,
of the
they
series.
just get more and more yoked.
But also speaking of size zero, like it is a nightmare trying to buy clothes from America here. Your size zero is like a size six.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what a size six is here. A
Yeah.
size 16 in America is, I think, between a 10 and a 12 here.
Oh, that's way different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Like, my partner is smaller than me and is like a size 14 American in pants.
Oh, and pants.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's wild.
yeah, it's just it's so bizarre trying to do the conversions and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vita's look. I love Vita's look.
Oh yeah.
Like the yellow and black jacket, sort of reminiscent of the classic Bruce Lee
Bruce
design,
Lee.
with
Yeah.
the sneakers and
Well, I
uh,
mean, you see them for the first time, and you know that they are a badass, right? I
right,
mean,
yeah,
it just the presence is like, okay, this person is capable and strong, and and Charlie's, her clothes are a little bit flowing, and she's a little bit of a mess, and she's a little bit floppy, and so like with Vita, everything's tight and like together,
yeah,
and Charlie's basically the opposite. So yeah, it's personality within character design, which is awesome.
yeah. That's exactly right. Huh? Never noticed. I totally forgot that like the entire table is a friggin' computer screen in the
Yeah,
cafe.
yeah. And then she breaks it, right? I think she breaks it at some point
Yeah,
coming up. Yeah.
I would say so because it's she's like tying up the doors with her belt. They're like, yeah,
Oh
like
my
Vita
god.
improvises so much
Yeah,
in so
yeah,
many just incredibly dangerous ways.
yeah. And I love a good like odd couple forced together story too. Those are always
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, and yeah, I love the like the long taily bit on Vita's shirt and the yellow docks.
Yeah.
And
And the world, and yeah, and the world building too is,
yeah,
I mean, they're like in a McDonald's that is all self serve, which is basically where we're going anyways.
yeah,
Just he comes out of from a vending machine basically. Um, and yeah, Vita's. I think Vita's look also indicates that they're going to be a bit of a throwback, and she's got a tie, which is like classic.
yeah,
It's not. It's not, can be modern, but it can be definitely like, Rat Pack 1950s
yeah,
kind of a thing. And they're driving like an old car, and kind of off the grid as much as possible, compared to Charlie, who's connected
yeah.
to
Very
everything,
much plugged
every
in.
app. Yeah,
And yeah, Vita's car is also something else.
yeah, yeah. Old taxi cab
Yeah,
looking, whatever. Yeah. And they live in an old house that doesn't have anything, and it's just
yeah,
a really interesting juxtaposition of like modern technology and like classic sensibilities.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And actually, also like you're saying about the being off the grid thing. What page am I on? That's a good question. I don't have a page number here. I'm on the page just after they leave the restaurant where Charlie is in the back of the car,
uh-huh.
like tucked in between the seats. And just like there's just so again this it's the whole thing about Ted and Ro of the all the little details that they hide. Like you can see the tools and like old food packets and crumbs,
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
Vita's
yeah,
obviously been living out of this car when she has to as well.
yeah. Something they're also doing, the artists, is there's a huge panel count in like almost every page, and
Yeah,
I think it leads to the frantic nature of the chase, right? You want to have like this is happening really fast. You have a lot of panels, so it's happening really kind of quickly. But they're such good storytellers that everything is totally understandable and you can follow
yeah, that's
everything along,
I,
and it doesn't seem like it's making me go crazy.
no,
I'm not
exactly.
like overloaded with images. And because I mean, just flipping through this first issue, I mean, it is like panel count like crazy all over the place.
Yeah,
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 panels, 9 panels, you know, seven, 6 panels, page by page by page. And it's like that can be really like jarring and
yeah.
not a smooth read, and it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. Like I didn't really pay attention to it until you pointed it out because it feels natural.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I've read a lot of books where I'm like, oh, I flip to a page, I'm like, oh, geez, that's a lot of panels, but I think it
yeah.
feels.
I would love to see Chris's script. And
It's
like, is it this giant encyclopedia coming? Because there
yeah.
is so many panels, so many words, so much stuff happening.
Well, I tell you what, I'll see if I can convince him to show us a page when he comes
Yeah,
on.
even one page of script. I would love to see what that looks like, because it is everybody's doing heavy lifting with this book.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
really are. And like just looking at this page, and how many panels you said, there's 7 panels just introducing this chase scene and Vita
yeah,
smashing Charlie's phone, and really it's kind of starts to give it a bit of a like a Guy Ritchie chase scene sort of feel.
yeah,
That's what I'm feeling
totally,
out of it. Like one of those heist movie, fast paced, lots of different angles because there's a whole bunch of crazy stuff happening at once.
yeah, yeah. Some quick cuts, some some jumping around. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
And what? Jeez. Yeah, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 panels on the next page. But
Yeah, I mean, for me as a writer, I think I'm much lazier than that because everything above 5 panels, I start to get, I maybe feel a little guilty for my artists, but like, eh, I think all writers have like a rhythm that they feel comfortable with, and for me, it's right around five panels a page is kind of where I start to feel like, okay, that's a good amount for that page. Let's move on to the next one.
yeah,
But man, looking at this and seeing how well Chris and the art team are telling a story with like 7, 8, 9 panels a page, I'm like super duper impressed.
yeah, it's
Um,
and it's like the complete opposite of Ryan in She. Have you read
mhm.
She yet?
I haven't checked that out yet.
It's
That
still, you can still
was
pre-order it on
beautiful.
Kickstarter, I think. Like,
Yeah, the cover of that thing alone was just gorgeous. Yeah, yeah. Show it if you got it. Oh yeah, yeah. Totally sweet.
yeah, but
Yeah, very nice.
yeah, like what Chris and Ryan did in this is almost the complete opposite. Like,
Yep, 2 panels, 3 panels.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think there's not more than 5 panels in the
yeah,
entire book,
yeah,
and there's only like 2 pages that have 5 panels in the
yeah,
entire book. It's always between 2 to 4 panels, but it's such a rich story with
yeah.
minimal panels.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just right. That's why comics are awesome, man, because
yeah,
you can have both,
yeah. There's
right? You
so
can
many
have this,
ways.
you can have crowded, and you can also have like barrier if you've seen that one
I
from.
did that with Ahmed
Did you? Yeah,
two episodes ago.
yeah. So like one panel basically,
Yeah.
you know, and then looking at a couple like a page or two ahead has the scene that's you're finally like, oh, this is a big full page spread, and it's really
Oh yeah, yeah. The
one,
one with
two,
the
three,
house.
4, 5, yeah, 6 scenes into one. So even when it's a full page, you're getting 6 panels worth of of
Yeah,
information basically coming at you. Yeah.
I love like the under the house garage
Hmm.
to stash the car in,
Yes.
and like this. Oh my god! Actually, wow. The first full page spread I think in the whole book, but it's still almost panels
Yep.
because it's
Yeah.
like it's the house,
Yeah.
and they've got the cutaway so you can see the interior of the house,
Yeah.
and they're doing different things on every floor. So like it's like they're using the rooms of the house as the panels,
Hmm.
and it's so great to look at. I'm just like lost in the page.
Yeah, I mean, this was really, it really was, I'm not a big, I don't really fall for, those, elevator movie line pitches where it's like, oh, it's a world where, you can hire an assassin through an app. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool concept. I get that. But picking this book up and flipping through it for like 2 seconds, I'm like, well, I got to buy all of these now because, just how well made it is and how beautiful the art is and how, you know, just great the character designs are. Yeah, it was an easy. It wasn't a hesitation. I literally
Yeah,
think 'cause I wasn't planning on buying it, and I was like, "Oh, that cover is cool." I really like the logo with the skull. I'm like, "That's dope." Flip one page. I'm like, "Well, I got to close that and take it up front because I have to buy this now."
yep, yeah. That doesn't happen to me often, but every so
Yeah,
often there's something that I'll just be like, and actually, but I didn't even get the chance to do that with Resonant.
yeah.
I saw the cover. I was out. I think I was out for free comic book day even. Oh no, no, I pre-ordered it actually. I remember. I saw the cover and I was just like, yes,
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 yeah.
let's try this. And so I pre-ordered it and I waited for weeks for it to come in because there was some kind of a delay in the shipping. And just caught a bus like 10 k's into the city,
Yeah.
went and got it, came home, sat down, and read it.
Did you read it as a trade? Did you read it all as a trade, or
No,
did you
no,
read it?
this was back when like issue one first. Like I had to
Okay.
pre-order issue one when it first came out, and then I picked up the rest on Comixology
Yeah.
because that's kind
'Cause
of what
I-
I do these days. I just get the issue ones,
yep.
and then I'll buy the rest on Comixology until there's a trade.
Yeah, because in kind of contrast, what I was saying about Crowded is that I get a lot of people that say Resident was a really fast read, and I think it's because I don't put a lot of words in
Mm,
there, and it's a low panel count. But I really like to let the art do a lot of the work,
yeah,
um, and
and
so
I've actually felt like it was kind of the opposite for me. I remember sitting down to read it, and it actually took me a while to get through because there was just so much to look at.
yeah,
Like there wasn't that there was so many panels or anything, but it was just so interesting. So I spent a lot of time on every page making sure I took everything in.
yeah, good, good. I like to hear that.
Yeah, and so like you could bet your ass that I'm sitting here going, "Come on, more resonant, come on, more resonant."
Skylar is drawing as fast as she
Yeah,
can.
I want to know what's happening with this green motherfucker or whatever color he was, the weird guy.
Oh, that's just Honcho.
Yeah,
That's yeah. He just what we wanted to do with that was do like flip the first issue. The first issue had Ty on the cover and he was all purple with
yeah,
green highlights, and so we flipped it for the sixth cover and it's Honcho all green with like light purple highlights.
yeah,
Uh,
nice.
so it's just something that we like
Yeah.
and doesn't really make a lot of sense to the reader, but we're like we want to do stuff that's cool for us to look
Yeah.
at.
No, and that's it. I love it. And like I
Yeah,
want to know why this dude is immune. So, I'm pretty keen to find out the rest of what's going on.
yeah. Um, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I'm eagerly awaiting.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll have to read it and remember because I wrote it like a year and a half ago, so I don't even know.
yeah. Shit. I'm onto the page where it's the page after the house when like
Mhm.
the cars blow up while Charlie's
Yeah,
telling his story, and there's
Charlie.
the sound effect hidden in the explosion.
Yes.
And yeah, and then again that little panel at the bottom where she's just back in her bed, but the room is so sterile and
Empty.
empty,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
hospital room.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really showing that, she doesn't have a lot of connections in the real world. It's all of her stuff is virtual, and it's, a little bit of a takedown of like the Twitters and all that kind of fakeness that floats around on the internet.
Yeah.
You can seem like you have an awesome life because you're just showing your highlights to everybody,
Yep.
and
Exactly.
the realness of it is her in an empty room, with like no friends and no family.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. And like here, especially, you can even see the beginnings of Vita's attachment to dog.
Yes.
At first,
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, that thing better not poop in my house."
Yeah. And
But
dog's already
yeah,
like, well, a dog is telling us who's the responsible one out of the two, right?
yeah,
Dog's like, all right, I'm going to hang out over here because this person will at least see that I get fed and taken care of.
yeah,
This other
exactly.
person, I don't have a lot of trust in.
Yeah, dog knows. And like, yeah, they're already hanging out on the couch, and
Did you flip to the next page with dog close up?
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, just, yeah. Every time we get a close up on dog, no matter what point it is through the series and how many times we've seen it, it cracks me up.
Yeah, and looking at the page, after that one, at the last two panels, you really get to see like the facial expressions that I'm talking
Yes,
about, like
yes.
the acting, that look on Charlie. You're like, exactly what she's trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see Vita's reaction. You're like, yeah, that is the exact reaction you would have. You know,
Yeah.
like someone's sick of their shit already, and Charlie's trying to just woo Vita with whatever she has as far as her wiles.
Yeah, and it's
Great.
just not working.
No.
Yeah, and it's just yeah, like you said, there's just always so much to look at. And again, god damn it, Ted with their black inks again on the next page.
Oh yeah,
With Vita
the
setting up
the
their
second.
guns.
Yeah.
I just I just can't understand it. I'm looking at it and I don't understand it. Like I'm used to working like this. You know? A nice
Yeah.
outline and most of my shadow is done with the colors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to learn how to do that more comic book dynamic inking and stuff, but like that's the most I've ever used on this page here.
Yep. Yep.
That's my page for Starless Daydream. And like I was drawing it and I kind of forgot that it was supposed to all be black and white as I'm drawing it, and then
Yeah.
I was like telling Frank, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll start working on colors next week." And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, you don't have to, remember?" I'm like, "Oh, that's right. Oh no." I have
better.
to add in some black.
Yeah.
Because it's the first time I've worked in black and white in over 10 years. And so I was like, oh, beans. And so just seeing how beautifully Ted uses the black ink, just judiciously. And like between one page to another, it's like almost all black, and then there's almost no black. And it's just incredible to watch that play between panel to panel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool! And like the way they've represented this VR scene as well is really cool.
Yeah, with the kind of the broken digital borders.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Well, and
just
they're both, and I think this is kind of, again, we're in a first issue, so we need to get some character background going and stuff. And this is
yeah,
kind of like first issues can be kind of a drag because it's like you're setting up the world, and to do it where we're already on a break from the action in the middle of issue one is pretty outstanding from the whole team. Chris, writing this thing like perfectly. But we also see that Vita, while has you know, Charlie had a hectic day, right? Her day was a ton of different things going on. Um, but it was still a full day. Vita had a full day that's very structured, but also very much still alone. So they're
Yeah.
two alone people who have very different styles of aloneness that are coming together to form some level of a relationship.
Right.
Um,
And I actually
so
really like the way, like you mentioned it, the way they did that as well. In like first issues can be kind of,
yeah,
oh, okay, yeah.
yeah,
So we got to get to know these characters. That's cool. Their stories are
yeah,
cool, but it's slow going. Here's an origin story, but no, Chris opened up with balls to the wall, friggin' attempted murder car chase,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden they're having dinner and telling each other their story over the course of a meal.
Yeah, you're in it. You're in it. You're immersed in it really quickly.
Yeah,
And he did the same thing for Vita that he did for Charlie. Is Vita gets one page of "This is my normal day," and Charlie had one page of "This is my normal day." So it's basically a mirror of what we already saw with Charlie, and that's
yeah,
really smart to do because the reader kind of even subconsciously realizes that, oh, I just saw a full day of their life, I saw a full day of this other person's life, and now we threw these two people together, and obviously they're going to be so different that there's going to be clashes,
yeah,
but they're
exactly.
also they're also both very alone, so they can have an attachment to each other pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much to love about this book. Um, I like how like later in the series we start getting to see more of Vita's life before this as well, and like some of her contacts and who they
Yeah,
are and what they do, and
yeah, the first issue, I mean, we just got to the end of the first issue. Basically, it really did set the stage really well,
yeah,
um, for the foundation of their relationship and kind of how that was going to, you know, naturally kind of evolve, as they're stuck together, with no one else to rely on for a really long time.
yeah, exactly. And then I mean, a few pages forward again towards the end here, we start to see a bit more of Charlie's true nature here. After
Yeah,
Vita's put her to bed because she's so
yeah,
drunk, and Vita goes off to bed, and again, another little bit here with dog snuggling
the
up to
dog.
Vita.
Yeah, dog's no fool. Come
Yeah,
on.
the dog is the brains of the operation,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
I mean, and kind of just behind the scenes as a writer, you want to have something at the end of that end of each issue to get someone to buy the next one, right?
exactly,
This is like a serialized TV show or whatever. You have to have a something before a commercial that makes people want to come back after the commercial. Um, this is commercial. This is like, something that you want someone to purchase.
exactly,
So you want a good story, but you also want a reason to make people kind of desperate to get the next one.
yeah,
So having that little last page, that bit of an end, the little peek behind Charlie's curtain, go, oh, something else deeper is going on here. That's smart to have so people are coming back and continue with the story.
right. And I love that page where we see that panel where we see Charlie sneaking out of the room, and we get that close up with again, as I've said,
Black.
the shadows. Yeah, I'm blown away by it. I've always been blown away by Ted's inking and Rose pencils anyway, but just looking at it again
Yeah.
now, I just and because I've been thinking about it a lot lately, I just bought Dynamic Light and Shade
Hmm.
by Byrne Hogarth. Um, and I'm noticing it more, and that half shadow on the face, and that sneaky look, the expression.
Yeah, give it a little bit of a sinister
Yeah.
uh, feel.
Yep. But
Yeah.
also like the way that it's framed by the hair. Like the hair isn't done in black
Hmm.
either,
Hmm.
so it really frames that shadow and puts the focus on the face. Man,
Good stuff.
it really is. And also, the logo is such good branding. Just those little skulls.
Right. Right. And it's everywhere. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, later on when we get to Trotter, right? That the Reaper celebrity, he's
Oh,
got
yeah,
it on his
yeah.
shoulders, and he's like super branded. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Like the actual like graphic design of this book is really well done.
Yeah. So
Uh,
I was actually really stoked with that this morning when I woke up, and Ted and Roe had already shared our tweet about it last night, and then Chris shared it
yeah.
this morning. So I had all three of the colored skulls lined up next to each
Yes,
other, and it felt,
I saw that. That was awesome.
yeah, it felt
Yeah.
like I'd unlocked an achievement of some sort.
Well, and kind of going back to that, throughout the book, you'll see like text as a text message or on a computer screen, and like every bit of design element in this is really well done. Like, um, you'll get different text styles, you get different box styles, you'll get um, different caption styles, and like it's just even like the title pages and the if you buy the single issues, like the kind of the letters area in the
Yeah,
back.
I was just looking
You
at
know,
that, and I'm
yeah,
looking at
it's
some of the back matter art that's included in issue
yes,
one.
yeah, yeah. That's kind of the bummer about that's the good thing about buying the individuals, and the bummer about the trade. You don't get a lot of that cool stuff. But that really stood out to me too, was that they were very thoughtful in the design of the letters page, and like the fan art pages and all that stuff was just super well done across the
Yeah.
board.
Oh man, I'm actually even noticing on the page with the artwork, it's still color coordinated. Like
Yes.
um, Ted and Roe have got the pink border around the art that they did,
Yeah.
and then Zoe Thorogood has a purple border around the art that she did, and Claire Roe over here has a blue border. So you can
Yeah.
immediately go, okay, those are by the same artist on the Ted and Roe one, because one's at the top and one's at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's super thoughtful, and I appreciate that level of thoughtfulness that went into the design.
Yeah,
Especially as an image book, that's not usually done in house. So that's usually something that the creative team is bringing with them. So I would be interested to hear who really was responsible for that level of like the design of the book. You know,
yeah, that's it.
I don't see
And
really anybody listed as editor or design in the front.
oh, it was
So
it was in this book.
oh,
Uh,
Juliet Capra does the edits, but I'm not sure if they're doing all the design and everything
I
too.
will have a look.
Yeah, because it's really thoughtful. Like every part of it is really thoughtful.
Yeah.
Because they'll show like fake
Oh,
app
nice.
screens, and they'll show like you know all
Yep.
that stuff has to be thought out. I mean, that's so much work.
Yeah. I actually forgot
Okay.
just now. Triona did the colors on Mech Cadet U as well.
Okay, and you're doing that one next week, you said,
No,
or
just sometime once Frankie's free again.
okay,
Because I really enjoyed that one, and I know that Frankie loves mechs and has read that one. At the moment, I'm eagerly awaiting Giga.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've checked out the first issue. I think
Yeah.
people are gonna like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So many people I'm following have all been going, I've read the first issue and it's amazing.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm already subscribed on Comixology, so I'm just waiting for that
Nice.
notification to pop up. But we've got the Skylar Partridge alternate cover for issue 2 in the back matter here too.
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, I got that in the back of the trade. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Scott.
love that with like the laser sights and the little
Yeah,
Reaper skull on Charlie's
yeah,
glasses.
yeah. Skylar's awesome. I'm so
Yeah,
excited to get people. I've been trying to hold back showing so many of these Resonant page that she's doing. I've been putting as many sneak peeks as I can, but basically all of issue 6 is a spoiler. You
Yeah.
know, if I show anything, people are going to know, oh, this must have happened. You know, so I'm having to be very patient and wait for December to get that thing out.
Yeah. I know
But
what you
I'm
mean.
really
And
stoked.
right now, I'm gonna rate this 5 stars on stream because it's such a good book. So, and then I'm gonna
That's,
take that back to the cover so that we can see that. Yeah, it's just such an enjoyable book. The whole thing from start to finish, and I'm just yeah. I know that Ted and Ro are working really hard on the next issues and of the final part of the final volume. So I can't wait to see what they do with the final parts of the story, and if we're actually going to finish finding out Charlie's story, or
yeah,
if Chris is going to be real cheeky and just leave that dangling on us.
yeah. So here's, sometimes you don't figure everything out as a writer before you start writing stuff. So I'm curious if he actually, I don't know what kind of writer Chris is. I think I've met him maybe one time at like the Vault booth. So I'd be very curious if he's the kind that plots everything out and has the ending in mind and everything's like outlined and stuff, or he's more like me, and I call it the parachute style, where I jump out of a plane with all the pieces to create a parachute and try to knit it together on my way down.
That,
So
yeah. I think I'm sitting halfway between both of those. Because
nice.
with that big project, that's exactly what
Yeah,
I did. I came up with a couple
yeah,
of character ideas, and then I sat down and it was like, chapter one, and just started
yeah,
writing.
yeah.
But
There, yes, yeah. This is spoiler. Don't tell the guys at Vault, but Resident had absolutely no. I had no idea where that was going to go. That that was like by the seat of my pants. Let's
yep,
see. I had some rough ideas of some things I wanted to hit, but like you'll see issue like 7, 8, 9, 10. Basically, I really had no idea what the kids were going to be doing. I knew what Paxton was going to be doing, but
yep.
I had no clue what the kids were going to be doing.
Well,
So
it doesn't come across that way. It all comes across really cohesive and
it luckily the character started telling me what they wanted to do, so I didn't have to do a lot of thinking. They did it kind of for me. Beck wasn't going to be that big of a character, and she's like, no, I'm a badass, get out of my way, dude. And so I just had to write more stuff. I had to
yeah.
just write more stuff for her to do.
I know what
Yeah,
you mean. That no, it's been really good watching all of that unfold on the page
yeah.
too.
And it's interesting. I'm working with Tim Daniel on a couple of projects right
Oh,
now,
cool.
and like he does a really good full like story idea. Like here's the beginning of the story, the middle of the story, the end of the story.
Yeah,
And so like he's come with some stuff that he's already kind of plotted that out, and then I kind of dive in and start like like breaking down issues and stuff like that. So it's been really interesting working to an end that I know what the end is already.
yeah.
But a lot of writers will come up with the end first and then work kind of backwards, and so it's kind of fun to have that a lot of the groundwork laid for me, and I can just follow the path that like he's already laid down.
Yeah.
So
That's what I
um,
think is going to be really interesting with the project I'm working on for next year as well. Like, I'm not giving it an end. I'm
yeah,
writing a beginning, and I'm like going to create the world that exists.
hmm,
And but all the other writers, as long as they obey the laws of the universe, can just have
yeah.
at it.
Well, that's Stephen King's method of writing. When I read Stephen King's, he has a book on writing, which I highly recommend for any writer to read. It's half memoir, half like an instructional guide on how to be a writer. That's how he creates a character and creates a world, and then he puts the character in the world and kind of lets things kind of evolve as they will. And he pretty much never has an ending when he starts to write. And
Yeah, that sounds really
yeah,
cool.
sometimes that leads to some weird stuff at the end, but a lot of times the world will figure it out like for you, I think. Yeah,
That
have
that sounds
faith
really
that
good.
you'll knit the parachute together before you hit the
Yeah,
ground.
well, it's going to be fun because it's like that's the anthology that I want to do, where it's going to be like a bunch of 10-page stories,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like this is how it started.
Nice.
It was just a uni assignment, and we had to come up with a collage, and so I was like, oh yeah, this looks fun, and then I was like, this could be a fun comic actually. I've got some ideas here, and so I was like, yeah, I'm going to try something really interesting. I'm only going to write like 2 stories, but I'm going to create a cohesive world for the stories to live in,
Yeah.
and then just go here. This is the world. Write about whoever you want, and just
Nice.
have at it.
Yeah. Rich Dweck
Yep.
reached out for the Wailing Blade like hardcover or big book that's coming out. He wanted to have some stories in the back that were short prose stories about the world of Wailing Blade, of like where it came from or tales associated with it. So I wrote a short story prose for that, and
Oh, cool.
that was fun playing in someone else's kind of world. You know, sometimes when you have that the kind of constrictures of someone else's universe, it can really uh, bring out some fun stuff in your writing that you didn't know it was there. So that was kind of cool. So I'll have a little short story in there.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. So aside from Resonant, because
Mm-hmm.
starting to head towards the end of our hour, what else have you got in the pipeline that you're allowed to talk about?
Uh, Nothing. You know, I am working on a couple of projects with Tim Daniel that, you know, hopefully will see some light of day. Definitely not in 2020, but hopefully 2021 we might be able to see some stuff starting. So I'm working with him on multiple projects. Two that we're really doing well. You know, have a lot of material done already for, and a third one that is is coming along too. So doing some stuff with him. You know, I have a couple of pitches out into the world. Um, you might want to follow 215 Inc. They're a small press close to me in the East Bay, California here, and I'm hoping to get a project going with them in the next year or so. Um,
Okay, that's done.
so yeah, yeah, that's about it. You know, this comic book world is a weird world, man.
It
You
is.
know, from the pitch to the first issue of Resonant was probably more than 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, so I try to be patient when I'm checking my email every single morning to see if I've gotten any replies. Uh, but yeah, you just got to keep your head down, keep working, keep putting stuff out, and you know, hopefully, good things will happen.
Yeah, that's it. And like I'm eagerly awaiting more Resonant because it's fabulous. So if anyone hasn't read it yet, I will also link that in the YouTube description along with everything else that we've talked about in today's episode.
Yeah, you can get the first issue for free from the Vault website. You know, you can download it and you can share it with friends. The first issue, I think, honestly, you know, it being my book, I still can think I can be pretty objective. I think it's good. I think if people read the first issue, you'll like it and want to read more. I don't know. It to me, it's read it for the art and the color and the letters. The story is decent. So there you go.
Yeah. Speaking of Tim Daniel, actually, on that note, I that's the plot is what I'll be discussing with Brent Harshman soon.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Plot
Yeah.
is awesome. Tim co-writes that with Michael Morisi. I think Tim really likes to collaborate. I think collaboration is like his main thing. So
Yeah.
he doesn't do a lot of like he likes to co-write and let me tell you that dude is so full of ideas. I think my goal and my job as a co-writer is to just like, you know, pluck a couple of fishes from the stream as the whole, you know, school is swimming by and I'm like, this idea, Tim, this one I'll take. And
Yeah.
then, you know, because he's just that his brain doesn't stop working, man. So he's been really fun to work with. And it actually, it's kind of because me and Tim have been friends for, you know, 10 plus years. So when you go to write with somebody, it's kind of starting a new relationship.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
get
like,
you.
oh gosh, I wonder if we're going to get along, if our styles are going to mesh, if it's going to be smooth, or we're just going to butt heads. And literally has been the smoothest thing that I could ever imagine. If it was a dating kind of situation, it's basically love at first sight, and every day has gotten better, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, our styles really have worked really well, and we immediately fell into a method of co-writing that works perfectly for us. So I'm really excited. The stuff that I'm writing with him is the easily the best stuff I've ever written in my life, and super super stoked. And hopefully people get to see it, and hopefully people like it and buy it, and then want more.
Sounds great. I'm looking forward to seeing what that comes to too, because the Tim Daniel books I have read, I've really enjoyed. So combining the two sounds
Yeah,
great to me. That sounds like a really good combination. I'm actually
yeah,
really looking forward to that for the Network Man as well, because Frankie said he'll write a story for it.
awesome.
I really enjoy Frankie's writing, so like letting Frankie loose in my sandbox will be a really interesting experience.
Yeah, yeah, it's so fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you want to give everyone a quick shout to where they can find you on the internet.
Mostly on Twitter. If you want pictures of my dog, you can follow me on Instagram. Don't try to friend me on Facebook because I hate Facebook and I'm trying to get off of it as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm just going to go
But
and
I
find you on
have a
Instagram
couple of
now.
people. Yeah, I have a couple of people that's my only interaction with them, that I don't want to lose them.
Yeah.
But follow me on Twitter at DB Andry, Andry, and that's same as Instagram. And I guess you can email me if you want, whatever. Everything's the same. It's all DB Andrew everywhere.
Excellent. Well, that is time for today. I actually have to get moving shortly and go do some Halloween shopping.
Nice. I'm gonna go eat dinner.
Yeah. So thank you again for joining me. That's been really nice having you on the show. It's been really great having someone that I could gush about Crowded with finally.
Yeah, it was fun.
Since
Thanks for
since I
having me.
started the show, Crowded has been like top
Top.
here. So I've been waiting for
Yeah,
someone who'd read it to say, "Yeah, this is one of my comics I'll choose."
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's been
I'm
really fun.
excited. Yeah,
Um,
find somebody. So I know the other stuff we talked about was Saga, which I think you're having
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
talk about. But I'm gonna throw one more shout out to Coda, which
yes,
Cy
that
Spurrier,
is
Mateus. I can't say his last name, but
somebody that has filled out their details has
yeah,
Coda in the
uh,
comics that they've read, so
yeah.
that is on
Yeah,
the list.
it honestly, in my opinion, should be one of the, you know, it's a classic. It should live forever, sort of a thing, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
I
so
know. Have you read Middle West?
I have read Middle West.
Yeah, Sweeney
I
Boo
read the
is
first.
coming on.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we're going to talk about Middle West, which is great.
yeah. Definitely a cool book.
Yeah. But yeah, Coda is on the list. I know somebody mentioned Coda in their I can talk about this list. So I have to
Yes,
figure out who that was. It might have even been Chris. But
that
I'll have
would
a
be
look.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. Thank you for taking the
cool.
time out of your evening and rushing home from work to join us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun to chat, and yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank
bye,
you everyone
Resin.
else who joined us, and you can find me at Sean Sunday Art on all the social medias as well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you will find all of both of our links in the description below. Please remember to do the like and subscribe thing if you have only just joined on Twitch. Also, doing a follow would be great because I'm like this close to affiliate, and if I can get a few more viewers for the next couple of episodes of No Capes, I'm all the way there. So
Nice.
thank you everyone, and I'll see you next week for another episode.